Greg Roman, former offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens, is going to his second year as the Chargers offensive coordinator. So with a revamped O-line and new weapons on the outside that they've acquired through free agency in the draft, can Greg Roman make this a top-tier offense? Let's discuss. Let's talk Greg Roman today, ladies and gentlemen. I'd be lying if I didn't admit to you guys fully that I have concerns about Greg Roman, and I always have. I don't want to be really, really ridiculously negative or hyperbolic, as some people like to do on their platform, but I want to speak the truth from my perspective. I think that there are some issues here with Greg Roman, in my opinion. I went back and forth about how I was going to break down this topic, and I just have to be honest. I have my reservations about Greg Roman. I do. There's a lot to discuss here. There's a lot to break down. There's a lot of nuance that's going on with the Chargers organization as a whole and what they're doing. A lot of things are trending in the right direction. A lot of things as fans, we have not seen before in the last 10, 15, maybe 20 years. Are harkening back to the idea, almost 20 years, back to the Marty Schottenheimer regime. So, we've been through some trials and tribulations. And again, we've had some stability in Jim Harbaugh's stint with the Chargers and things of that nature. But there's a glaring issue here. You're looking at Jesse Minter's side of the ball. He's a very innovative and young and savvy defensive coordinator. I have no reservations about him at all. The only thing I concern myself with is how long he's going to stay, because he's going to be in high demand here for a head coaching job soon. I think that another year on his belt with a good run at being a top tier defense, I should say, he should definitely be in demand for a head coaching job. So hopefully we can keep him as long as possible, but I'm not confident. Greg Roman, on the other hand, I don't think anybody's checking for him. I'll be honest. His history, his way of doing things, it bothers me. It really does. So I wonder, based upon, you get what you get out of the team what you can get out of the team last year, because again, you were rebuilding. It was your first year. You kind of throw a little bit of a curveball with the personnel and the money, the cap. All those things were working against you. Now you've kind of gotten cap solvent. You got 2 drafts under your belt. You've gotten, the team trending towards the idea or the philosophy that you want to build, right? But we still have to look at it from a perspective of whether or not this team and this offense can be a contending offense. The 2025 NFL is a very nuanced and a diverse offensive football game now. The old days of smash mouth football and hard-nosed defense is gone. Let's just be honest and be concise about that idea. It's gone. It's not coming back. I'm sorry. It's one of those things where they've made changes, for good for the NFL to ultimately be more of a marketable brand, and they making money hand over fist with that. So I don't see them changing that. So the idea of what the NFL is today is going to continue. So if you don't have that particular, I guess you can say, idea or I guess you can say page in your book to, turn to when you want to be, current and be with the times, you might get left behind. And I think that's the issue with Greg Roman right now, in my opinion. His stints with, other teams, dating all the way back to the idea when he was with Harbaugh at Stanford and the 49ers. It was a different regime, different game of football being played back then. And I haven't seen him really move up and be current with the times, in my personal opinion. And that's what's bothering me about his philosophy, his way of doing things, and how he ultimately is going to be remembered as the Chargers offensive coordinator. So with that being said, let's dig deep into his history, his past, his philosophy, and maybe that'll give you a better understanding of who he is. And at the end of this, I'll give you my idea of what I think will be the issue, or maybe not. We'll see how things go. But like I mentioned earlier, Greg Roman's been, offensive coordinator for the 49ers, he's the Ravens, the Bills, Stanford, Cardinals when Harbaugh was at Stanford, so he's very good friends with the Harbaugh family. He's been working with Jim and John, in different capacities over the last 10 to 15 years. So clearly, he's almost like a family member. I want to argue that because he's been back and forth with the family, in a lot of spaces. But I'm questioning his innovation. I think that's my biggest problem with him right now. But no question about it, he's good at certain things. But I think those certain things are, I guess you can say, dated in a sense when it comes down to how you want to run your offense, right? So getting into the burning question here, let's start off by saying, can Greg Roman transform the Chargers in 2025? Can he do it? Can he do it? I mean, like I said, you give him a pass or a mulligan, whatever you want to call it, in the last year because again, you were coming off of a really mismanaged and poor regime that you're proceeding, that you're following. Your predecessors were pretty bad, so you were dealt a bad hand, so you had to do what you got to do, and they got 11 wins out of that particular outfit. I give them credit for that. It's all kudos and credit to them being the 11-win team, despite having the woes that they had from a money and a roster perspective. But now that a lot of excuses are going to go out the door because you've had time to manage that and get that get those problems corrected, right? So can he, with the new weapons he has, Marion Hampton, Tyler Conklin, Trey Harris, Keandre Lambert Smith, Orson Gasson, the new tight end that he got. A lot of weapons that they've amassed and might bring Mac Williams back, Najee Harris, Mekhi Becton. It's a lot, it's a lot of things to be, happy about in this particular idea. So, now it's all going to fall on Greg Roman and whether or not he can be a competitive offense, because I think that in times and places, again, last year was a different year, but at times and places throughout his career and now, he gets, stuck in these ruts and he doesn't, have the ability to, I guess you can say shift and turn a gear to make the offense move better. And I think there's been issues in the last, years in Baltimore and now where he gets stuck and kind of gets stuck in the mud and gets stuck in his ways. And he just wants to do things a certain way. And even if it's working or it's not working, he just want to do it that way. And that's just it. Can't live like that. Can't live like that if you want to be a contending team. So what can he do? What can he change and what can be different about this offense in 2025 that's going to get the Chargers over the hump? So, to start off what he's known for, everybody know what he's known for is a run game. Very polished, very nuanced, very intelligent run game philosophy that he has. It really is. He's the elite schemer. If he coupled that with a good old line and decent elite running backs, which he has now, I think that he's, the running game is going to be much improved. But the problem is that him not being a brand new entity in this particular regime of the NFL, everybody knows that. Everybody knows that Greg Roman's a run first guy. So their defensive coordinators and teams that are going to oppose you are going to really gear towards taking that away from you. So that's when you have to pivot. That's when you have to do things that are going to be, I guess you can say, innovative in a sense where you are able to, have a different chess piece to put on the board to be able to, a different move you can pull on the chessboard to be able to move the ball. Because people know and they will definitely scheme and their primary focus will be to stop your running game. Because they know that if they can stop your running game, they can limit you in what you do if you don't have a nuanced passing game. So I think that we understand that, he is good for the run. That's definitely a situation where he is one of those elite guys that he can do it and do it well. I'm not arguing that at all. So I understand he's really good at the running game and that's what he's known for, but everybody knows that as well. So what can you do to address that to be a diverse is my concern. And going by his past, like I said, he was a former coordinator for the 49ers when Harbaugh was there. Stanford as well. He followed him there. And then he came back to the league as a Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator for a while. And then he became the assistant, then the offensive coordinator for the Ravens, doing a lot when around the time they got Lamar Jackson. So he had a very diverse and very successful running system in Baltimore. But I would argue that his issue with the Buffalo Bills and under Rex Ryan and under John Harbaugh is that they were really good at the run, but their passing game was an issue. That wasn't always an issue, and I think that that's the reason why he got fired in Buffalo, and I think that's the reason why he resigned in Baltimore, because I think that they were needed to get more innovative if they want to get over the hump, if they want to move forward. And he just wasn't the guy to get them there. And I'm not sure why Jim Harbaugh didn't see that, or think he can live like that to be a successful franchise in the NFL in 2025. I'm just not sure. But I really think that's the issue, and I think that's his past is is really haunting him, and he has not pivoted off of that. They say some people getting set in their ways and they want to change. They think their way is the right way, and they just want to ride with that. And that's fine in certain cases, but when in a fickle league like NFL is, when you only are as good as your last game played, you can't live like that. You have to be innovative and be savvy and be progressive if you wanted to win football games. And I think that's where he struggles at. So that gets me into what his past struggles have been. It's been a pass game. He's been a nuanced passer. I have not seen a really sophisticated passing attack in any of his iterations at the Niners, the Cardinals, the Buffalo Bills, or the Ravens, and I haven't seen it yet here. And which is mind-boggling to me is that he's had elite quarterbacks in multiple arenas. You got Justin Herbert now. You've had Lamar Jackson, when he was coming on and he was developing as a good passer. And just, Colin Kaepernick, anybody that has been a quarterback that can really, really throw the ball, you had that in your wheelhouse and you weren't utilizing it. That's what made me, shake my head and scratch my head about his philosophy, is because he just didn't utilize his talents to effective nature. Let's be honest. Let's just look at current situation. I don't get into the past. The current situation is that Justin Herbert can throw for 5,000 yards in this league. Easy. He can. And with a 17-game schedule, it's even easier to do that. I get, you want to use the idea you didn't have the receivers, or you didn't have the O-line, you didn't have this, that, and that. That's all going by the wayside now. You have it all at your beck and call. So can you throw the ball down the field and be a really, really difficult offense to stop, because you will have a dominant running game. Everybody knows that. But when you couple that with a dominant passing game, that's going to really keep defensive coordinators up at night, because they're not going to have a really legit means to stop you. They're just going to try to limit you, maybe keep you off the field. That's what they do with the Chiefs nowadays. No matter who they have, because Andy Reid is such a good play caller, no matter what they do and who they have in personnel-wise, they know his play calling is elite. So what they do and they try to do is keep him off the field, keep him and Mahomes on the sideline. That's the only remedy and the only way you can truly beat the Chiefs on a regular basis, is keep them jokers off the field and limit their possessions. They know that, because the offense is going to somehow, some way find a way to score points. If you can get to that point, and that's where the NFL is at right now. You look at the current, or past, several Super Bowl champions, they've all had that ability to put up points. And by some facet, some means. Chiefs included, they won 3 Super Bowls in that time frame. So, hey, it's working, and that's the way the NFL is moving. So you got to get with the times. Is my issue, and that's why I feel like Roman struggles at. He struggles with nuanced passing. That's my thing. So if you look at today's NFL and how coordinators are very touted and very successful, they have complex and detailed passing attacks, and they're always tweaking, they're always changing, they always give you different looks. Every time you think you haven't figured out, they give you something different. Andy Reid is really good at that. Mike McDaniel, to his credit, in Miami. Sean McVay in on the other side of LA. Kevin O'Connell, Matt LaFleur. They all have innovative and very detailed passing attacks. They all do. And they're always changing, always tweaking, and always innovating and being modern. So that's where the deficiency lies for Roman, in my opinion. Now, I was, skeptical, or I guess you can say optimistic, not pessimistic, but optimistic about the fact that he's hired Marcus Brady. Marcus Brady is more of a progressive passing coordinator. He's the pass game coordinator. So I would think that by hiring him, that may help the deficiency that Roman has. But I'm not sure he's listening to Marcus Brady at this point. That's my issue. You have a guy in the room that could really upgrade your ability to pass the ball. But will he listen to Marcus Brady and let him kind of run that idea and call those plays when the chips are down that Marcus drew up, or he's added to the playbook, added to the room that allow for them to be more innovative in a sense where they can have a better and more dynamic passing attack. Now, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, because again, you're looking at a new regime, looking at a new O-line, you look at a new set of weapons. So it might all work itself out, but I'm concerned about his history, his ability to do things and how he's done things in the past. Or will it still rear his ugly head, or will he finally wake up and smell the coffee and say, hey, we need to do some things differently if we want to move the ball consistently in 2025? We'll see, but history always precedes itself. That's always my biggest concern. He's always been this way. He's never really wavered, never really changed. I want to call him old and surly, but he's giving me those kind of vibes. So I'm hoping that I'm wrong about Greg Roman and he can change a little bit in 2025 with everything being quote unquote better and in this sense that things are going to go good. But I mean, overall, just talk about Greg Roman in general. The only question we have left is, can he innovate and elevate? That is the basic and most glaring question that we have in 2025. Can he elevate and can he innovate and elevate? Can he be more nuanced and more diverse and more complex in the passing game? Can he do that? If he can't do that with Justin Herbert, Trey Harris, Mike Williams, Ladd McConkey, Tyler Conklin, Orson, Gatson, I mean, we're talking about good weapons. I'm not going to sit here and act like we have the Bengals receivers or whoever has a really, 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 top flight offense, from a weapons perspective. But they're good. They're good enough with Justin Herbert's talent level to be really nuanced and really detailed in 2025. So can he do it? That is the burning question. So I have my reservations. I hope I'm wrong, but his history and his lineage has told me he likes to do things a certain way. He don't really want to waver. So I'm hoping I'm wrong, but we're gonna ask ourselves the burning questions if the offense doesn't move the ball at a right and great clip in 2025. Is Greg Roman a guy? I'm going to let fans know right now. I'm going to say this on June 5th of 2025 before the season even gets started. The complaints will be coming at Greg Roman early and often, and he does not move the ball in a righteous way, in a modern way in 2025. I promise you that. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope that Greg Roman is wise and than I've seen in the past, and he's knowing that he has to do things differently. But we'll just have to wait and see. But let me know in the comments exactly how you guys feel about this. Do you think Greg Roman is the man for the job? Do we feel like we need to move in a different direction if he doesn't get it done in 2025? All that's on the table. So let me know in the comments what you feel like about Greg Roman. Always hit that subscribe button and let the YouTube algorithm know that we're out here booming. We're out here doing things big on Chargers land. And always, you got to remember to boat up.